वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। But am I all right in my sequence? I asked Shanti Devi once, why did you not marry? You know what she told me? I have not put it here because it will hurt the family. Try to understand, I am coming from India. And India, those family people will feel deeply hurt if I reveal certain things about their families. So in doing that, I have to sometimes slur over a thing, sometimes drop a hint. I asked her, why did you not marry? You know what she said? Oh, Mr. Rao, do you know what it is to have pains of pregnancy? I said, you have not been married in birth, you have had no sex, you have not become pregnant, how do you say that? He said, all that memory of the past haunts me, how I suffered in pregnancy in my previous life. This is a recorded case, the world's most celebrated case which I am presenting before you. A University of Norway has 18 volumes, thick volumes on Shanti Devi. Now you have seen the fifth house. Absolute dread of having a child. And a woman who never had any sex, who never conceived, from poor Janma that is coming. In one of the pop cases on reincarnation from USA, there is the story of a woman who married but refused to have sex with her husband. Very strange thing in USA. Normally it would not happen. But she had a very sympathetic husband. The husband took her to some psychiatrist or someone. And in USA you have so many things, and one of them is what you call past life regressions, right? So she was taken to one such past life regression, what do you call it, clinic, whatever you call it. Taken there, and her past lives were traced slowly. Right or wrong, I do not know. Crazy or not crazy, I do not know. Scientific or unscientific, I do not know. All that I know is it is recorded somewhere, which I have read it, in a book coming from USA in India. Why was she not wanting to have sex with her husband? In one of her past lives, she was a maid in a Scottish fort, and where the soldiers collected and gang raped her. So she had developed a dread for sex. So she married all right, but after marriage she developed a terrible fear of sex. So they say they cured her of that, then she started leading a normal life. But that is an important story from my point of view. The sanskara created by a haunting fear of that life. The unconscious fears that haunt you are not the fears only of this life. They are the motivations springing from some karma of your past. In a tabular way, I will explain that to you later. Yes?
Is there any clue from Shanti Devi's community why she might be the one to remember her past samsara, where other people, all of it happened and we don't remember?
Just a minute. Yes, I was accusing you of being 90 minutes ahead. Right? You are 90 days ahead. I have done that, but unless I come out with the whole thing, I will not reveal the secret yet. In all the cases, I will show you people who remember their past lives also have something very special. I appreciate your question. I will not answer it now. Because my investigation must be 100% thorough. I will not give you a cock and bull story. I am not the type of man. Right? Are there any links between both horoscopes? This question can be answered only tentatively, yet it supports some of our astrological beliefs. I am giving you only part of my research here. It's a very long, beautiful research. Here I have not shown you the introduction I have written. How I have taken these things from the Gita, from the Padma Puran, from Srimad Bhagavata, so many places. I have taken all those things. But here, I have taken only, I am not giving you this religious, spiritual explanations. I am giving you pure astrological support to some of the beliefs. Number one, the first belief is that the 12th house of your horoscope is your previous life. What is the Lagna of Shanti Devi in this birth? Meena. What was her Lagna in the previous life? Right? Second, we do not know if this is correct, but it supports an astrological belief. The moon of Shanti Devi is in Kumbha, the Lagna of previous life. That is another belief. Again, we do not know if it is correct, but it also supports an astrological belief. I will digress a little. And you must permit me to digress. I am 64-year-old man. In Karobi, a place in Rajasthan, there is an excellent Bhrigu reader. Of course, Linda Johnson wrote a very interesting piece recently on Bhrigu reader. Most of you who go to India will get cheated by wrong Bhrigu readers who have ghosts in their possession. They can tell your name, your money, you have everything, but the future goes wrong. But there are some Bhrigu readers who can show you a manuscript in which these things are written down correctly. But I have recently been in touch with a Bhrigu reader of Karovi village who has given me predictions of future also, and I should say 60% of them given for this year have already come out correct. And I told Dr. David Sholay, this time when you come to India, make your Delhi program very flexible. Then I could take you from there. If you have a very rigid tight program, because that man in a village somewhere, to contact him and tell him I am coming on such and such day and you have to keep that day free for me. He respects me, he will keep it free for me. So you should not have a tight schedule. Dr. David Sholay had gone with me to Parashar Kund and taken a bath. Parashar Kund high up in the Himalayas. This time I want to take him to Parashar Gufa and make him meditate. So now, she died in the Dasha of Moon Major and the Rahu sub period. It is said that in the next birth a person gets part of the major or the sub period of his previous life. Remember, Moon Rahu, she died, and in this birth she was born in Rahu Mahadasha. Right? So it is supporting these three beliefs. I have many cases like this now. Unfortunately, all Indian cases. I want non-Indian cases. undisputed non-Indian cases. If you can help me, that is why. Who is that lady? Where is that lady? Yes, you. That is why I requested you about Edgar Casey. Now you appreciate? She is helping me. That is why I want to get in touch with Edgar Casey Institute to see whether there I could get some records of birth details. It is recorded there. I could take those cases and cast the horoscope. Case histories are available in Edgar Casey Institute. So it is, of course, she is helping me. I am grateful to her, but it is my request to rest of you also. If you ever come across any such case which you think is worth investigating into, where there is no element of fraud, no element of manipulation, please collect it and send to me with authentic case history. I can produce a book right today on astrology and reincarnation, but then you will say you have given me only Indian cases. And you Indians are brought up in that culture, you believe in it. Why can't you give a non-Indian case? I could give a non-Indian case if I had an assurance from someone outside India. Ian Stevenson has written in his reincarnation types of cases that he went to Lebanon and Muslim countries and came across established indubitable cases of reincarnation of those countries and started investigating. Muslims came, surrounded, burned them down, burned the houses and beat them up. Even when it is established, Muslims do not want their belief system to be disturbed by accepting this. That is Ian Stevenson writing. But you are open-minded in USA. If you come across on such case, please give me. I want non-Indian instance. That's why I am waiting. Now, final conclusions can be drawn. No final conclusion at the moment can be drawn. I have not revised it as I said, and it is not necessary to do it. I'll stop here. Now go into. She died in 87. Now please read this out carefully and let me drink tea safely. Now read this. Or if one of you can read it out for me. You do that?
I have got in writing the comments about the recollection of scientific data of the past life and true documents to arrange the entire principle of true non-college Congress was voted on April 29, 1995 to this time. That is the Congress used to be true of the building. So, I strongly agree with the information in what I personally experienced in the London State of Constitution area. Not to agree with the daughter of my first cousin, Steve Ron,
Anyway, the daughter of my first cousin Sri Rang Bahadur, son of my maternal uncle. It was about 65 years back that it all happened in the late 20s. I was then a student preparing for my MA final examination. I belonged to a relatively poor family, and for studies I used to spend most of my time in my maternal uncle's house. Shanti Devi was at that time about 2 or 3 years old. We noticed that she used to murmur, but not very clearly, that her home is in Mathura. Gradually we could make out the following facts from the little child. 1. That she lived in Mathura. 2. That her husband was Chaudhary Kedarnath. 3. That her husband owned a shop opposite the famous Dwarkadhish temple. From Delhi, Mathura is only 3 hours drive. A near relative of my cousin, retired principal Kishan Chand, used to come there quite frequently. He also learnt all the facts. One day he thought of making some inquiries, and he wrote a postcard addressed to Chaudhary Kedarnath, proprietor of a general merchant shop opposite the famous temple. On the third or fourth day, Chaudhary came straight to my cousin's house in Chira Khana, Old Delhi. He told us that his wife had died recently. Exact period I do not remember. Died in childbirth. And whatever the little child was saying was perfectly true. Soon the news spread all over the old city that this was a case of reincarnation, and thousands of people began to come daily to see her. Shanti Devi was still, I believe, 3 or 4 years and spoke very little, and that too not very clearly. After a few days, some leading personalities of Delhi decided to investigate the matter. For this purpose, a group of persons, which included very near relatives of my cousins, headed by 3 eminent men of different views, included myself, went to Mathura. The 3 leading personalities were: 1, the late Tara Chand Mathur, leading advocate of Delhi; 2, Mr. Deshbandhu Gupta, editor Tej Daily, an Arya Samajist. An Arya Samajist is the man who would oppose it. Late Sri Nek Ram Sharma, President Sanatan Dharma Sabha, Delhi. I will now describe briefly what happened at Mathura. When we reached Mathura at about 11 a.m., there were more than 2,000 or 3,000 people at the station. Deshbandhu Gupta took the girl in his lap and slowly walked in the crowd along the platform, asking the girl if she recognized anybody. She immediately got down from Deshbandhu Gupta's lap and touched that person's feet. When asked, she said that he was her father-in-law. It was absolutely true. You know the Indian habit of touching feet. The young girl went and touched the feet of the father-in-law of his previous life. From the station, we all left for the city in the horse-driven tongas. Tongas are the horse-driven vehicles. 3 miles from the station, Shanti Devi was all the time in the lap of Deshbandhu Gupta, who was asking her to guide them to her house. It was surprising for all of us, including the huge crowd which was following us, that she slowly and gradually took us all to her previous house, that is Chaudhary Kedarnath's residence. When the party reached there, she immediately recognized the house. We entered into the house. There was a small courtyard. On questioning, she told Deshbandhu that there was a well in the courtyard, but none of us could see. She pointed towards a place where a red stone was lying. Chaudhary then removed the stone and there was the well. The next investigation was about some money which she had collected for offering in the temple after her safe delivery. That is a normal Indian habit which we call manauti in Hindi. You vow to God, God, if this work of mine is done, I will give so much money in charity. Or I will visit your temple. Or in India, Tirupati, I will go and get my head shaven off. That is very common in Tirupati. After I returned from my last tour from this place, my nephew went to Tirupati, came back, had head shaven off. Now you say, very fashionable young man living in Delhi, suddenly why should he become bald-headed? Why should he get shaven off? He had vowed to Lord Tirupati that if he got selected for the dress designing course after a stiff competition in Bombay, he would offer his hair there. So he went and got it shaven off. So that's a common Indian belief. I vow this, from today, I will give up eating this if this wish of mine is fulfilled. Like that. So vow. That is known as manauti. So she had a manauti. If she had safe delivery. She said where she had kept the money in her room on the first floor. We all went upstairs into her room. Deshbandhu asked her where she had kept the money. Apart from the door, there was a small almirah-like space, no doors, with one shelf, about 2 feet long. She reached the almirah, pushed her hand into the side, when we found that was an earthen hundi fixed into the wall, but could not be seen by anyone from outside. In India, or in ancient times, small little earthen pots, almost unbreakable, thick ones, there people used to keep money and hide it in the house. Hundi, that is known as hundi. So it was hidden in the wall. The Chaudhary confirmed that there were rupees 50 there, but after her death they had donated the money to the temple as she wished. Deshbandhu then wanted to find out crowd, including large number of ladies. She at once recognized the house, and we all went in. It was fairly big house. Then a very surprising thing happened. Deshbandhu asked her, where was Shauchalaya? Now it is very important. It's a very beautiful piece of investigation, very intelligent. Till I came to America, I never knew that restroom meant something where you don't rest. Right? If I had not come to America, if you had come to India, well, where is the restroom? I would have been confused. I would have guided you to a wrong room. I would definitely have shown you the bedroom, say that is the restroom. Shauch is a pure Hindi expression used for restroom, Shauchalaya. In India, you have to understand castes, a caste in northern India, have been nearest to Muslims. And they know Urdu word more. In the caste family, they will never use this word Shauchalaya. So ask very Shauchalaya. Toilet. We castas of Delhi had never heard that word, and therefore she could not have ever heard it. But she slowly guided the investigating party to the family's toilet. Now the important thing to remember is, in her previous birth, she was born in Mathura, where they would use the word Shauchalaya, pure Hindi word. In this birth, she was born in a caste family of Delhi, in whose vocabulary the word Shauchalaya never existed. So they used the word Shauchalaya, a vocabulary of her previous birth, and a 2-3-year-old girl. This investigation convinced all the 3 leaders of the party that it was a real case of reincarnation. In the evening, they addressed a huge public gathering explaining all the facts. A29, Kailash Colony, New Delhi, 110048, Radhika Narayan, retired principal, Sri Ram College of Commerce, Delhi, retired in December 1972. Sri Radhika Narayan is the father of Sri N.M. Mathur, an officer of the Government of India, and a student of astrology second year final in June 1995, and now he is in my research group. So when I say 100% authentication, my authentication is from the starting point to the ending point. If only you can give me a case like that, then only I can include in my book, otherwise my book is ready. I only to sit down and edit it. This is the unedited part of the manuscript which I passed on to you, and Beth was telling me today, it is good you are doing it. Now I will conclude by narrating 2 small cases investigated into by Dr. Ian Stevenson of the University of Virginia. reincarnation type of cases, kindly get them and read them. One case is that of Gopal Agarwal, who designed the cover page of Dr. Charak's Varshphal. I brought him one day to my class in the Bharati Vidya Bhavan, where I am required to give general lectures on general astrology, astrology karma, astrology fate and free will, etc. And said this is the most celebrated living case of reincarnation today in the world. This man, Gopal Agarwal. In his previous birth, he was Shaktipal Sharma in Mathura. And it is there the first case in Dr. Ian Stevenson's book on reincarnation type of cases in India. Gopal Agarwal designed the cover design of Dr. Charak's book Varshphal. That is the world's most famous case today of reincarnation. That man is alive in Delhi. I will not go into some unpleasant details of that case, but some very interesting fact I tell you. Established not by me, but by Dr. Ian Stevenson of University of Virginia, USA, head of the Department of Parapsychology. When Gopal Agarwal's mother became pregnant, she started demanding lots of fruit juices, particularly orange juice. Dr. Ian Stevenson investigated into the whole thing and found out that Shaktipal Sharma in his previous life used to take only fruit juices and particularly orange juice. When he came in this birth, in the womb of his mother, she started demanding more of this fruit juice. But after the delivery of the child, she stopped taking fruit juices. Now, if you go to an average Indian family, they will tell you when you are pregnant with a child, go to temples regularly, do worship regularly. The sanskaras are formed right there, and the child will demand what it wanted in the previous life, right from your womb. And it's not a Hindu who is establishing this. It is an American scientist who very honestly writes, because of my Christian upbringing, because of my scientific background, I find it difficult to accept it, but these are the facts I am narrating. That is more convincing than my telling you. Second, I will tell you something more. I don't know whether I should tell, but anyway, still sleep comfortably in spite of my telling you what I am going to tell you now. Right? And I will conclude with this uncomforting story. Ian Stevenson again. I have referred to this in my book Astrology, Destiny and Wheel of Time. Sundari, born in her next birth as Kusum, let us say. I am forgetting the name. Young girl Kusum, born in a family, 6 or 7-year-old girl, let us say, goes to the school along with her other classmates. One day while standing there, they see a snake up on a tree, cobra, falling down and getting hurt. All the people out of fear run away. But this young girl goes, takes the cobra up in her hands, pats, removes the fear. And once the cobra has regained consciousness, leaves and the cobra quietly crawls away. All the teachers are watching. All the classmates are watching. What a dangerous thing to do. They said, why? You had no fear. She said, no. Why should I have fear? He said, why? In my previous birth, I used to sleep with cobras. This is there in Ian Stevenson's study. I have quoted in my book, Astrology, Destiny, Wheel of Time. Purva Janma Sanskara. When you are doing something unconsciously, subconsciously, you are inheriting, you have brought with you the traits, some traits of some past life. That is known as samskara. She had no fear of snakes. In some family you come across people who right from the childhood take only vegetarian food. I have written about my Guruji in Yogi's Destiny Wheel of Time. Born in a purely 100% non-vegetarian family of Sylhet in eastern Bengal of those days. Right from the childhood he took only pure sattvic ahar, without onion, without garlic. So many of the things you are doing are this. So in astrology and karma, I am going to cover the subconscious effects on your brain. I'll start with negativity first. I am not in the habit of talking about negative things, but I'll talk about some negative tendencies visible in a horoscope. I'll show the career pattern. Then I'll show you why prarabdha is important, destiny, predestination. Why and when you can expect happiness from your children. Then I'll present a very brilliant astrogenetical study, the only of its type in the world, where I gave before the birth of a child to the parents, after the child is born, the child will take you to a foreign country, will study brilliantly, and you will also make a career abroad. Before the birth of the child, I fixed the birth time. They wanted a cesarean operation. What are the in-depth study I made, how I made it. This will meet an argument which many people have. Doctors can manipulate birth time. They can manipulate destiny. I said no. They cannot. You cannot manipulate destiny by manipulating birth time. I'll prove it to you. The only recorded case, in depth, which I have studied. And then I'll conclude with more complex uses of divisional horoscope. Everywhere I'm linking karma to birth horoscope, showing you different facets of karma as reflected in horoscopes. I have given in my book 50 illustrations, but I will take up only 8 or 10. If I take up 50 illustrations and begin to do it, we'll all get up and say good morning on 1st January next year. Thank you.
My mother lives in a place where Edgar Casey's Institute is. We could go there.
You have to, if you assure me that we will get some authentic data, I will go.
Well, it's there. I mean, if it's there, we can get it.
I shook my head when you said you can't do that because that happened this year with a client of mine. She wanted me to fix a birth time for her child, and so it would be a Libra. And her doctor wanted to, she had to have a cesarean. Her doctor wanted to do it a certain day. I said, we'll leave it that day. And because I said the aspects are okay, and she said, okay, it's a Virgo. it was definitely one to be born like.
Now you have heard an excellent exposition on karma, and very beautifully towards the end, the link between karma and astrology was just touched upon. So my task has become easier. I will talk about two points I have touched upon in my book, Astrology, Destiny and Wheel of Time. The first is the reference I have made to a story in the Mahabharata. A woman called Gautami, her son was bitten by a snake and he died. A snake charmer who happened to pass that way and who sympathized with this woman caught hold of this snake. Came to Gautami and asked her, what should you do with this snake? Kill it? Chop it into pieces? Burn it? Gautami said, why should you do that? By doing that, will you be able to bring back my son alive to me? On the other hand, by approving of your action to kill the snake, I'll be participating in his sin. Whatever had to happen has happened. My son has suffered his predestination. So I'm not going to do that. The argument went on. In the meantime, the snake which had become very nervous, regained consciousness. And the snake said, why, it's not my fault at all. Why are you blaming me? It's not my fault. He said, why? I was ordered by Yama. Yama is the Lord of Death, to bite you. So I only carried out an order as a servant of Yama. In the meantime, Lord Yama came. So Lord Yama was asked. He said, I have not done nothing. I have only asked. I was asked by Kala, the time, the Lord of time, to ask Yama, and through Yama the cobra, to kill the boy. Then Kala came and Kala was asked. Kala said, I have done nothing. I act like a mirror. I show you the result, the time which has come for the fructification of your karma, the karma phala. That is known as karma phala. I also do nothing. In other words, anything that is happening to you is a result of your own karma. You cannot find out, afford to overlook the link between reincarnation, karma, and the present life. This will be a totally unsatisfactory explanation to say, I believe in reincarnation and I believe in birth, but I do not believe in that intermediate link called karma. The entire edifice of astrology will collapse if you do not believe in this intermediate link called karma. Now this karma has three parts for your understanding. One is karma phala. Karma phala is the result of certain karmas. The second is karma sanskara. You know, at a given time, certain sanskaras arise in you, certain reactions arise in you. You find out your moods. Your moods keep changing as the dasha keeps changing, as the antardasha keeps changing, as the pratyanta dasha keeps changing, as the transiting planet keeps changing. At all levels, emotional and physical levels, those reactions which are taking place. So karma, karma phala, karma sanskara, and the creation of future karma through the present karma. Three things always, if you concentrate upon, the link between astrology and karma will be clear. The karma phala, the karma sanskara, and the creation of future karmas through my present karma. So therefore, if you were to ask me, how would you sum it up? I would put before you this chart and explain. I hope it is big enough now. Right? Can you see that from there? Astrology teaches that every human being has to suffer and enjoy his karmas, which are predestined or unknown to him. Therefore, human life is the story of suffering, stroke, enjoyment. I will come to this part later. First you see this. Chosen instrumentalities, Mahabharata, march towards salvation or bondage. Motivations have the coloring of three gunas, see the role of dashas, etc. I will give and talk about the illustrations. And it is from the afternoon that I will take up more case studies. In the morning I am preparing the background for the case studies I will be taking up from the point of view of explaining. Which are predestined? The first question I ask you. Many people challenge. Many people say, why should we believe in predestination? I said, it is not a question of your believing or not believing. It is a question of your seeing. As an astrologer, you have the ability to see that predestination is there. For others, it is philosophy. For an astrologer, it is not a philosophy, it is a reality he can see. If as an astrologer you have not been able to see this as a reality to some extent, I will not insist that every astrologer can predict everything or can see everything. It is just not possible. But if as an astrologer you are not able to see at least some of that element of predestination in a horoscope, then you are not a sound astrologer at all. The first test of a sound astrologer is very simple. We are sitting taking our lunch or tea. She just described her horoscope to me, Western chart. Mentally I converted that into Vedic chart. I asked her 3, 4, 5 questions. She says, yes, it's perfectly all right. It is what you are saying. A lady whom I had not known, who only describes her horoscope, and I asked her some questions. If she says, yes, it is as it is. What I have seen is predestination. So over a period of time, I had developed now a habit of writing out predictions in advance. If I get time. When people come, I say, you please see and put your comments. Even if 50% is all right. What does it prove? It proves predestination is what an astrologer can see. For others it is a theory. For astrologer it is not a theory. I will slightly digress and tell you, in English you use the word philosophy. In India we use the word darshan. Many Indians who come and talk about India's Shad Darshan philosophy, Nyaya, Vaisheshik, Sankhya, etc., use the word philosophy for India. We generally do not agree with that for a simple reason. Philosophy is phile, 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 and so phos, sophos, love of wisdom. Philosophy is love of wisdom. Darshan is an actual realization. Darshan Shastra is not philosophy. If you say this is one of the India's philosophies, darshan,
Nyaya, Sankhya, you will be committing a mistake. Darshan means practical visibility. This is what I have realized, this is what I have seen. So, Shad Darshan of India now, astrology is described as Pratyaksha Shastra. Pratyaksha means that which is directly perceptible. If it is not directly perceptible, you cannot look into the horoscope of an unknown person and straight away trace these events. Got the pen also? One pen will do. The second is, are unknown to him. This is very significant. If all of us knew what was going to happen to us every day and till the day of our death, perhaps life would become totally unromantic and a total torture. An element of uncertainty is what keeps alive some hopes and some fears. And it is a balance between hopes and fears that makes life what it is. It remains unknown to us. Two things are there. Karmas, which are predestined, but we do not know. In my Yogi's Destiny and Wheel of Time, I had talked about the great Nagari Das Baba of Vrindavan. Nagari Das Baba of Vrindavan. He always used to say, and that has become a very favorite quotation of mine, on the stage of the world, we are the actors who are compelled to act out their predestined roles without knowing the script of the act. Without knowing the script of the act, you are acting out that role. And that is always so. But an astrologer can see and turn this unknown into the known. Astrology is the art of finding out what is predestined and also knowing the unknown and converting into the known. As a result, what an astrologer learns is human life is the story of suffering and enjoyment. I use a very broad, very broad classification called the word use suffering enjoyment. Now suffering and enjoyment, nation to nation, man to man, individual to individual will have different meaning. Someone enjoys taking lot of food, someone enjoys taking very little food. So what are sufferings and enjoyment are purely personal to you. For me, this is a more important role of astrology. Predicting about suffering and enjoyments is mostly reducing astrology into fortune telling. Now go deeper, go higher. You must remember that you, wherever you are in your life, are an instrumentality both. Through you, certain things are happening, and God has chosen you to do certain things through your instrumentality without your knowing. You have caused suffering to some people without your knowing. You have given happiness to some people without your knowing. These things all the time keep on happening suddenly. So that instrument, you are becoming an instrument, and through your instrumentality, these things are happening. An extraordinarily good instance, which I have quoted always, is available in the Mahabharata. In the Mahabharata, when Yudhishthira decides to have the Ashwamedha Yajna, he is warned by Narada, you have to have because your father has sent this message, but as a result of this, there is a terrible war. Then he asks Krishna. Krishna says, perform it. Now he decides to perform. During the Ashwamedha Yajna, Shishupal it was, misbehaves and Krishna has to chop off his head. Then Arjuna, this Yudhishthira comes and says, well, that terrible event which was predicted that has happened, is it the end of the story now? At least will it be calm? Then Vedavyas tells Yudhishthira, Tvameka karanam kritva kalena bharatarshava sametam parthivam kshattre kshayam yasyati bharata duryodhana aparadhena bhimarjuna balena kya. The meaning is, your weakness for gambling will be the cause. The crime will be committed by Duryodhana. The destruction will be done by Arjuna and Bhima. And this will go on for full 13 years. But you, Yudhishthira, will be the cause. Nature has chosen you as the instrument. So you have become an instrument chosen by destiny. In the small circle in which you are living, you are an instrument. In the bigger, if you are a bigger man living in a larger area, again you are an instrument. All the time your dasha and antadasha is revealing to you that you are following this. You are an instrument and you are through your instrumentality this is taking place. As a result of these two, the third thing is happening. You are marching. Every action of yours is either creating more bondage or reducing your bondages. When it is creating more bondage, you are going to have more births, transmigration. When it is reducing bondage, you are moving towards salvation. So instrumentalities. Now, in these actions, you find the role of what you call the three gunas: Sattva guna, Tamo guna, Rajo guna. Most of you know this. Sattva guna is the one which gives you happiness. In the beginning, a sattvic action appears to be difficult to cultivate. For example, go and pray every day. It's a difficult discipline to cultivate. But finally it gives you happiness. That which appears painful in the beginning but gives you bliss in the end is Sattva guna. That which appears happy in the beginning and gives you pain in the end is Rajo guna. And that which starts with pain and ends with pain is Tamo guna. So every action you are performing has the coloring of this. You are doing an action sometimes in a purely sattvic way, sometimes in a purely rajasic way, sometimes in a purely tamasic way. In my astrology, destiny and wheel of time, I have referred to crime and Guru's grace. I will just Take it up as a case study for you, only mentally, don't write down. One of the best ways of doing astrology is, I describe a horoscope, keep the horoscope before your mind's eye, don't write down. Do this exercise a little. Your concentration will improve, your predictive powers will go up.